I'm still nervous because it's the Fantastic Four, and they've never had a good theatrical adaptation that wasn't animated and by Brad Bird, but the first trailer has me more than excited. It has me hopeful that this could be incredibly fantastic. Welcome to Sandwich Reviews. I'm the Talking Sentient Sandwich, or the Nihilistic Optimist, a name I'm thinking of switching to. You guys let me know if I should or shouldn't. And before watching this trailer, I can't say I was that excited to see this movie. I mean, it's the Fantastic Four. I was hyped to see them. Hell, I was hyped to see Fant4stic, and by the time I went to see it, I already knew it was terrible. But with this being the MCU's Fantastic Four, there is an expectation that this has to be good. It's also the 4th reboot, so if this isn't good, you know there's a problem, though maybe lucky number 4. Yet, I woke up as early as I could. I might have set an alarm for this, but I just blew past it, watched the trailer, and was floored by how good this looked. Everything down to the look and setting, their origin, all the characters, maybe a 5th member of the team, villains, and possible narratives, all looked fantastic, and I'll be talking about it all in that order. So let's start out with the look of the film, from the production to the cinematography, and it all just fits. The director and cinematographer have done phenomenal work in the past, so I wasn't worried, but seeing this look like something is welcoming. The production team is also working overtime, ensuring that every set is authentic to the vibe they are going for. The music as well does a fantastic job of fitting that and bringing everything together. And I'm sure the overall costuming will fit as well, but one thing I especially love are the suits. I'm optimistic they'll be made from unstable molecules, and fully dive into the weird sci-fi nonsense Reed is always getting into, but either way, I just enjoy the turtleneck. And I don't know if this is that telling with what the movie will do, but I love the way the trailer starts in the smaller 4:3 aspect ratio before expanding out. I could see the movie doing that with a cold open, or perhaps even more showing their origin before expanding out for the titles, but probably not, and more on that origin later. There's also this smooth and shiny sheen over the top of everything, and I'm not saying it's bad, I actually kinda like it, but it does make the CG more noticeable, though I'm sure while watching, that will only enforce the style and I will fall into this world, believing it's fully real. And with the setting, we already knew it was going to be different, but to actually see the retrofuturism, where the TVs are big and bulky and the cars are from that era yet slightly different, and there's those weird clear sliding door fridges, made specifically for a key lime pie ready to go. But the technology is far beyond our own, and it's just so good to see all of that. It opens up the narrative by not just being constrained to a specific universe where everything has to conform to the same overall style, but also by just being able to be unpredictable. Who populates this world? Are there any other superheroes out there? There doesn't seem to be, with the Fantastic Four being the sole superhero protectors of this Earth. But anything could happen in this movie, because it's not baked in or tied down to previous lore. That as well as the Baxter building, and I've seen worse adaptations, but if the other buildings are as smooth, this'll work really well. The movie also seems to be telling the classic origin, with them going into space and being bombarded with cosmic rays. And I don't hate the negative zone origin, in fact I think it allows for a lot of setup for the future. Regardless though, the astronaut origin is just too good to pass up, and I'm really glad they're going with it. But yet again, more on that later, because now it's time to discuss the team, and what is there to say besides they're all perfect. We haven't seen much of them together, just a lot of separate shots, but I have no doubt they were cast with chemistry reading at the forefront of the decision making, and the line about weekly family dinners is spot on. But just to go through them, there's Ben, whose big rocky eyes and clinking sound design makes it the best thing already, hands down. He's also seen wearing a trench coat and hat, which is a comic book look, but for some reason, I've always just associated it with Raph in TMNT. But up next is Johnny, who I'm sure will lean towards goofball more than cocky, but I expect there will be both. And his fire and flying also looks great, with a shot of him diving through the city and one of him going into the atmosphere. That might be a test flight that went wrong. Also, is he at home wearing the spacesuit because he's scared of bursting into flame? If so, that would be adorable. Then there's Sue, who I'm hoping will not just be the glue that holds the team together, but also the heart and soul of the movie. Her powers are also getting a cool lens flare prism-y look, something that just gets me pumped to see more of. And I'd say up last, but I think there is going to be one more member, is Reed. And he'll be the one driving the plot, with the others almost just tagging along, though the trailer does highlight his nice family man exterior, but one thing we don't see any of is his power. I understand holding off on it, but I really wanted to see it. Will it look good? I don't know. Is there a good way of adapting stretchy powers into live action? One Piece kinda works, but when it does, it's because there's gravity and weight to the animation. But with Mr. Fantastic, there's an inherent weightlessness to his motion, which could be really cool to see if done right, but I doubt it can be. And before I get to the mystery fifth member, I should also mention Herbie, that adorable little guy, girl if we're going with the rumors that she's voiced by Natasha Lyonne, or maybe neither boy or girl, I'm not about to assume. But finally, the fifth member, and I don't remember if this was confirmed or not, but I'm confident Franklin Richards will be in the movie, perhaps even a main player. I wouldn't mind seeing Valeria as well, but having Franklin does lend the story an easy way to access the multiverse. Plus, having him or Valeria adds so much to the team dynamic. And to transition to the villains, there's a main one, or at least hopefully the main one, but then there's whoever John Malkovich is playing. And I've heard more and more that he's the Red Ghost, and that would mean a failed Fantastic Four experiment with 3 apes and himself. And that would also lend credence to the theory that he's not playing Mole Man, allowing for Paul Walter Hauser, Stingray himself, to be the subterranean villain. And there's also the many rumored C-listers that will supposedly be in a crime-fighting montage early on, which would be undeniably amazing to see, but no one matters as much as the big guy himself. And I'm just so glad we're getting the purple dude. Plus I love the shot of his looming shadow too. And moving on slightly to possible narratives, but still talking about Galactus, is the likelihood of this being most similar to the comic Fantastic Four life story, because it establishes the classic dynamics really well and is one of the most concise versions of the usual Galactus story. Although it could and probably will pull from any number of other times Galactus has invaded Earth for consumption and the Fantastic Four have to stop him and his heralds. I'm guessing his arrival will be as early as the end of Act 1 to allow for lots of Galactus screen time and for him to have a massive impact on the story. But presumably there will be many other villains as well, and Mole Man or Red Ghost or whoever that is could be a part of that C-lister montage just to get them out of the way. But the biggest villain that we haven't seen and probably should have been talked about in the characters section, yet I couldn't find a good way to sneak her in, is the Silver Surfer. Is she a gender-swapped version of Norrin Radd, his wife, or someone else entirely? I have no idea, but all options are okay, because we know she'll be the one dealing with the Fantastic Four rather than Galactus, at least until the end. And as I promised earlier, I gotta circle back around to the team's origin, because for some reason, most likely having to do with Galactus, they're going back up into space. But with that, I must ask the question of how long ago was that origin? How established will the team be? With them having fans and people wearing their merch, it does look like they'll be very established, possibly even with a future foundation, but I'm just not sure. And there's also the aspect of how this movie will likely end, because for them to travel to the MCU and inevitably be part of that universe, that means that they're likely gonna lose to Galactus and he'll eat their Earth. I mean, that's a little depressing, and they could just travel to the MCU because they're explorers and don't need more reason to, but that's just the prevailing theory and what makes most sense to me. Also, none of Doom is seen at all, and I have plenty of videos talking about the possibility of that working versus the likelihood of it not, but I'm sure Robert Downey Jr. will be in this, if only to establish who this Victor Von Doom is, and maybe also to explain why he has Tony Stark's face. But what are your thoughts on the first trailer for Fantastic Four First Steps? Are you raging a Fantastic Four versus Superman war in someone's comments, or are you a normal person who's just excited to see both? Drop a comment and let me know. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe for weekly video essays and reviews, and have a great day.